at this moment in hockey history, it is time to talk first round of the NHL playoffs. The Nashville Predators come into this first round series versus the Vancouver Canucks, finishing fourth overall in the Central Division. After 82 games skated, the Preds finished with a record of 47-30-5. 99 points saw the Preds finish in a bit of a bubble, 8 points short of the third place team in front of them, the Colorado Avalanche, and 7 points ahead of the St. Louis Blues, the fifth place team directly behind them in the standings. And the Preds seem to be in this somewhat protected bubble down the stretch of the regular season. The Central Division was won by the Dallas Stars. The Winnipeg Jets finished in second, with Colorado finishing in third. They'll face off in the first round of the playoffs. And then the Nashville Predators also qualified as a wild card team. The Preds finished as the wild card one team with 99 points. Vegas finished as the second wild card team with 98 points on the road, which is where game 1 and 2 will take place in this best of 7 series versus Vancouver. The Nashville Predators had a record of 24-14-3. 24 road victories this season was actually quite impressive and a very good overall road record. The Preds scored 269 goals in the regular season. They gave up 248 goals against as a goal differential of plus 21. This best of 7 series starts off on Sunday night with game 1 in Vancouver, and then Tuesday, also in Vancouver. First game at Bridgestone Arena will be game 3 that will be on Friday, and then Sunday, early start time for that one versus the Vancouver Canucks in game 4. If necessary, they'll head back to Vancouver for game 5 on April the 30th. If necessary, they'll come back to Bridgestone Arena on May the 3rd and face off against Canucks in game 6, and then game 7, if necessary again, would take place on May the 5th. These two teams met 3 times during the regular season. The Vancouver Canucks went 3-0 against the Nashville Predators, taking all 6 points in the regular season and outscoring Nashville 13-6. Now, all of those games took place in the first half of the season, and the first 2 took place quite early on. Let's go back and recap. It was on October the 24th that the Nashville Predators fell on home ice to the Vancouver Canucks 3-2. UC Saros took the loss, going 21 out of 24. Sherwood and Sissons scored the only goals for the Predators. Demko picked up the victory for the Vancouver Canucks, net 16 out of 18. Rather light workload overall. Hoglander, Mikheyev, and DiGiuseppe had the goals for the Vancouver Canucks. The two teams would meet again on Halloween. That would be, of course, October the 31st in Vancouver, when Vancouver would score a 5-2 victory. Lankinen would get the start on the road for the Preds and take the loss. 22 out of 26 was his stat line. Fabro and Sissons each with a goal in that game. Thatcher Demko again with a start against the Preds, 27 out of 29, and picks up his second victory in a row against Nashville. Pettersson did most of the damage with 3 goals in that game. Hughes had 3 assists. Lafferty and Mikheyev also chipped in with a goal. On the 19th of December would be the third and final time these two teams would meet in the regular season. It was as the Nashville Predators were starting to turn the corner on this season and starting to show some improvements, but the Vancouver Canucks put them right back in their place at Bridgestone Arena immediately with a 5-2 victory. UC Saros, 19 out of 24, took the loss and got pulled. Lankinen came in relief and did a decent job. Glass and Luzon had a goal in that game for the Preds. DeSmith, 26 out of 28, picked up the victory for Vancouver. Suter, Pettersson, Amon, Bluger, and Hoglander all with goals for the Vancouver Canucks. So again, the Nashville Predators on the regular season went 0-3 against Vancouver, 0 out of 6 possible points, and were outscored 13-6. And what jumps out immediately when you talk about these statistical recaps from these games during the regular season is you do not see Philip Forsberg or Roman Josi or Gus Nyquist or Ryan O'Reilly. Frankly, you do not see any of the top-end offensive players for the Nashville Predators scoring against the Vancouver Canucks early in the season, and they definitely did not get the goaltending that they have gotten in recent stretches, giving up a total of 13 goals in the 3 games against the Vancouver Canucks. So I think it is a different matchup than what we saw during the regular season series. The Predators have certainly gone a long way to improve, but have they made up enough of the learning curve to defeat this Vancouver Canucks team 4 out of a possible 7 games. This Vancouver Canucks team comes in winning the Pacific Division. They finished with a record of 50-23-9. 3 of those regular season victories came head-to-head against the Nashville Predators on home ice. The Vancouver Canucks are 27-9-5. They scored 279 goals on the season. They gave up 223. That is a goal differential of plus 56. Let's talk about their last 5 games of the regular season just to show you how the trends were down the stretch. They were competing against the Edmonton Oilers directly, head-to-head for number 1 overall in the Pacific Division. It got close, but the Canucks were able to take care of their own business, and they handled it during this stretch right here. On the 8th of April, it was a 4-3 win versus the Vegas Golden Knights. So that's against a playoff team right there. On the 10th of April, it's a 4-3 overtime loss versus the Arizona Coyotes, a 4-13, a 3-1 win at Edmonton. That's essentially where the Vancouver Canucks clinched the Pacific Division. Didn't officially clinch it, but that's where they did the work that needed to be done. On the 16th of April, a 4-1 win versus Calgary, and their final game of the regular season was a 4-2 loss at the Winnipeg Jets. Taking a look at the final regular season rankings and numbers between the two teams in this matchup, and it's impressive to see how many top 10 statistical metrics we are going to get to talk about. In the goals for category, the Nashville Predators finished 10th overall in the NHL, 3.24 per game, but the Vancouver Canucks were better than that. 3.4 goals per game was 6th best in the NHL. Big disparity in this particular category here in the goals against category. The Preds giving up 3.02, 14th in the NHL, right around the middle of the league, but the Vancouver Canucks only giving up 2.7 goals per game. That is 6th best in the NHL. So 6th best in goals for, 6th best in goals against. In the shots for category, this is where the Predators do have one distinct advantage, especially down the stretch as they were piling up shots on goal. The Preds finished with 32.2 shots on goal per game. That was 8th best in the NHL. The Vancouver Canucks only generating 28.4 shots on goal per game. 26th in the NHL is their lowest rated metric out of the top 6 that we talk about here in this particular segment. In the shots against category, the Predators giving up 30.6 per game is 23rd. This is where the Vancouver Canucks make up for the shots for ranking. 6th best in the NHL, only giving up 28.6 shots on net per game. So the Nashville Predators are definitely running into a bit of a wall right here in the shots opportunities categories. When it comes to the special teams, it is the Nashville Predators with the 16th rated power play of a conversion rate of 21.6%, 58 conversions, 269 opportunities in the regular season, going up against Vancouver's 11th rated power play, converting at 22.7%, 58 conversions on 256 opportunities on the season. When it comes to the penalty kill, the Preds have a kill rate of 76.9%. That's 22nd best in the NHL throughout the regular season, which is in the lower third of the NHL. 57 power play goals against is not an impressive number. The penalty kill for the Vancouver Canucks, kill rate of 79.1%, is 17th best in the NHL. They gave up 53 power play goals against on the season. When it comes to the individual stats leaders for each of these teams, it is Philip Forsberg for the Nashville Predators with a franchise season record of 48 goals, add 46 assists to that for 94 points. The captain Roman Josi led the NHL in goals for defensemen with 23, 62 assists on that is 85 points for the year. Gus Nyquist was one of the best free agent signings by production and points on the season. 23 goals, 52 assists, a career high in assists, 75 points, a career high in points. O'Reilly, also another solid free agent signing, generating 26 goals and 43 assists for the Predators this season, and 69 points overall. Tommy Novak takes another step in his development. All he does is continue making plays for 18 goals and 27 assists for 45 points on the season. The Vancouver Canucks, though, full of highly skilled offensive threats that can make a huge difference in any game at, frankly, any time. Pettersson scored 3 goals against the Predators this season. That was the most against the Preds of anybody, but Höglander was also on that list for leading scorers against the Preds. Overall on the season, Miller paced the Canucks, 37 goals, 66 assists, 103 points. Hughes out of the blue line, 17 goals, 7 75 assists, 92 points on the season. Always incredibly dangerous, especially in power play situations. Pettersson, 34 goals on the season. Again, 3 of those came against the Nashville Predators. 55 assists, 89 points overall on the year. Bosser, 40 goals, 33 assists, and 73 points on the season. Philip Roenick, 5 goals, 43 assists, 48 points overall. Now, in net, I am very much looking forward to seeing the matchup of UC Saros with his record of 35, 24, and 5, a 906 save percentage, 2.86 goals against average, and 3 shutouts on the season, going up against Thatcher Demko, who also has a record of 35, 14, and 2, .918 save percentage, 2.45 goals against average, and I believe it is 5 shutouts on the season. 5 total shutouts on the season. That is an impressive number. And Demko, if it wasn't for some brief injury time, Demko easily would have paced amongst the league leaders in victories and other statistical categories, but he was slowed down just the tiniest bit this season. But out of the gate, Demko was the hottest goaltender through the first several weeks of the season. UC Saros was not. UC Saros struggled the first several weeks of the season, and for different parts of the season, UC Saros had his difficulties, but finishes the season with 35 victories, a 906 save percentage, 2.86 goals against, 3 shutouts. That's not bad, and UC Saros is capable of doing more than keeping the Predators in a series. He's more than capable of stealing a game. He is capable of stealing a series. We've never seen that. We know in theory that works, but we've never seen that in application. Can UC Saros beat the Vancouver Canucks 4 out of the next 7 games? To be determined. Thatcher Demko, another young, incredibly talented goaltender at the NHL at this point in time. As Saros versus Demko is a fascinating goaltender matchup. The 2 premier defensemen that are also extremely good on the offensive side of things, Yossi and Hughes, in this matchup is going to be very fun and great to watch. And then it comes to Philip Forsberg and Bosser, 2 40-goal scorers in this series. I think that the Nashville Predators and the Vancouver Canucks is a fascinating series because the style and the speed and the pace with which the Predators play is exactly what the Vancouver Canucks have been implementing over the last couple of seasons that led to the Canucks winning the Pacific Division. The Preds were boat raced by the Canucks earlier in the season in 3 games, and it showed that there was a learning curve and a wide disparity between where the Predators are and where the Canucks were headed at that moment in the season. Now, a few months later, and the Predators have caught that moving train, can they apply all the lessons that they've learned throughout this season, and can they put enough pressure on the Vancouver Canucks, who as division winners hosting games 1 and 2 have a lot of pressure on them? Their fan base has incredibly high expectations for this Vancouver Canucks team. They went almost the entire season in first place in the Pacific Division, and they competed for the President's Trophy. So, high expectations for Vancouver. No expectations for the Nashville Predators coming into the season to be anywhere near this particular situation. So for the Predators, it's no expectations versus high expectations and a bunch of fascinating matchups throughout the lineup. How does this Predators team respond after not seeing this Vancouver Canucks team since December the 19th? Well, a lot's going to be revealed in Game 1, that is for sure. Game 1 is Sunday night. You're all set up for that. You're all set up for the series. Let's go back. Let's take a couple of minutes. Let's recap the entire season series between the Nashville Predators and the Vancouver Canucks. It's all 3 games. It's the Reverse Sports Full Game Recap, and it's coming up now.